Have you ever read an online review and immediately questioned the future of the human race? Today, we are exposing 55 Amazon customer complaints that defy all known laws of logic. We are talking about people getting furious that a puzzle arrived shattered into 1,000 pieces, or complaining that a bag of birdseed was a total scam because it grew weeds instead of actual flying birds. We are about to witness the absolute peak of shopping absurdity, where the customer is living in a completely different reality. 1. A guy left a furious 1-star review for a 4-person camping tent because it got too dark inside when the sun went down. He literally demanded a refund, stating the manufacturer failed to include built-in solar lighting, completely ignoring the fact that he was sleeping in the middle of the woods. Did he expect a crystal chandelier to drop from the nylon ceiling? The absolute best part is his genuine outrage over having to use a normal flashlight like some kind of medieval peasant on a survival mission. 2. An exhausted wife purchased an orthopedic memory foam dog bed and left a highly critical review stating it was terribly uncomfortable for her grown husband. She explicitly bought the extra-large pet mattress hoping her spouse could sleep on the living room floor after a massive argument. The 1-star complaint argued the faux fur lining lacked proper lumbar support for a 200-pound man. Maybe just buy a couch next time instead of treating your husband like a golden retriever. 3. Someone actually bought an artificial desktop succulent and complained a month later that it was not growing. The buyer stated they watered it every single day and kept it in direct sunlight, yet no new leaves ever appeared. They called the seller a scam artist for selling a defective plant. The product title literally started with the words "plastic fake desk plant." How do you water a piece of molded green plastic for 30 straight days without realizing it feels exactly like a Lego brick? 4. You simply cannot script the pure irony of a hunter giving a premium camouflage jacket a single star just because he lost it in the woods. He took it off, placed it over a bush, and could never find it again because the woodland pattern blended perfectly into the surrounding trees. He was legitimately furious that the expensive fabric did exactly what it was scientifically designed to do. 5. Top-tier noise-canceling headphones usually get heavy praise, but one customer aggressively returned a premium pair because they worked exactly as advertised. The formal complaint stated the headphones were a massive safety hazard because the wearer could not hear their kitchen smoke alarm going off while listening to heavy metal at full volume. They penalized the audio brand for successfully canceling noise. Imagine being mad at an umbrella because it blocked the rain from hitting your face. 6. There is a 1-star review for a classic paperback novel where the customer was totally outraged that the book contained too many words and 0 pictures. This was not a children's story, but a dense historical biography of Abraham Lincoln. The reviewer felt deeply cheated because they had to actively imagine the historical events in their head instead of just looking at photographs from the 1800s. Photography barely even existed then, but sure, blame the author for your lack of imagination. 7. A frustrated dog owner bought a terrifying lion mane costume for their golden retriever and left a scathing review because the costume did not actually trick the neighborhood dogs into thinking a real lion was loose. The buyer was highly disappointed that the other dogs just sniffed his pet instead of running away in absolute terror. He wanted a full refund because the synthetic fur lacked genuine predatory energy. Do people honestly think animals are getting fooled by a $20 Halloween wig? 8. Let us admire the breathtaking biological ignorance of a gardener who bought a bag of premium wild bird seed and got incredibly angry when 0 birds sprouted from the soil. They formally complained about planting the seeds in premium dirt, watering them every single day, and only growing random green weeds instead of actual flying finches. They truly thought the agricultural company was selling literal bird eggs disguised as tiny grains. 9. A children's magic kit received a vicious 1-star review from a parent who was outraged that it contained cheap plastic props instead of genuine supernatural powers. They were livid that the floating ball trick used a transparent string and that the magic wand did not actually shoot sparks. The buyer formally accused the toy company of false advertising because their child was unable to perform actual sorcery at their birthday party. Imagine demanding a refund because a $10 toy did not violate the laws of physics. 10. Nothing screams absolute chaos quite like the customer who bought a full-length wall mirror and complained that it made her room look exactly the same but completely backwards. She genuinely thought she was buying a piece of modern interactive wall art that would dynamically change the visual scenery of her apartment. Instead, she was just staring directly at her own messy bedroom. It is frankly terrifying that someone out there with a credit card does not understand the concept of basic reflection. 11. Let us talk about the sheer panic of a buyer who ordered a 1,000-piece landscape puzzle and left a furious 1-star review because it arrived completely shattered into tiny fragments. They were absolutely livid, demanding to know why the factory intentionally ruined a perfectly good picture of a mountain before shipping it in a sealed box. This genius genuinely expected a fully assembled, glued-together poster to arrive at their door. How does someone reach adulthood without understanding puzzles? 12. Complaining that a decorative sand timer runs out of sand is a bold strategy. A highly frustrated reviewer punished a beautiful brass hourglass because it forced them to flip it over every 60 minutes. They accused the manufacturer of designing a faulty timekeeping device that lacked a continuous automated flow. Imagine thinking a glass bulb filled with dirt should possess the mechanical endurance of a smartwatch. Did they expect the sand to magically teleport back up to the top chamber on its own? 13. One ambitious outdoorsman purchased an extreme weather mummy sleeping bag and angrily reported that it severely restricted his ability to do jumping jacks during the night. The guy literally complained that the snug, heat-trapping cocoon was entirely too tight around his ankles for midnight calisthenics. The entire point of a thermal mummy bag is to keep you alive in freezing temperatures, not to serve as a mobile gymnasium. Why would anyone need athletic mobility while zipped inside a sleeping tube? 14. Writing a devastating review for a children's spy kit because the invisible ink pen produced totally blank pages is peak internet comedy. A furious parent warned other buyers that the included markers were completely dried out and wrote absolutely nothing on the blank paper. They completely missed the giant bold instructions explaining that you must shine the included ultraviolet flashlight to reveal the messages. They bought a secret espionage toy and got incredibly mad that it actually kept a secret. 15. Getting mad at a pocket dictionary for spoiling the alphabet is a totally real thing that actually happened. A deeply offended reader dropped a single star on a standard paperback dictionary, stating that the plot was completely predictable because all the words were arranged in simple alphabetical order. They felt the creator lacked narrative tension and relied too heavily on obvious structuring. You really have to wonder what kind of wild, dramatic plot twist they were anticipating from a glossary. 16. Purchasing a garden sundial and throwing a tantrum because it stops working at night is spectacularly dumb. A disgruntled homeowner demanded a full cash refund, stating the heavy bronze timepiece was completely useless the second the sun went down. They heavily criticized the lack of a battery backup system for midnight garden strolls. It is a solid chunk of metal that uses literal solar shadows to tell the hour. Do these people just sleep through every single science class in elementary school? 17. Total betrayal was felt by a customer who bought a leash for their pet lizard, only to complain that the tiny harness did not magically make the reptile want to go for a daily walk. They rated the nylon strap terribly because their bearded dragon just sat flat on the sidewalk, staring at them instead of trotting along like an energetic puppy. The leash worked perfectly, but the reptile simply did not care about human fitness goals. Have you ever blamed a basic rope for an animal ignoring you? 18. You will lose your mind over the person who bought a pack of heavy-duty refrigerator magnets and left a vicious complaint because they would not stick to their solid wooden cabinets. Read that again. They were trying to stick magnetic clips onto thick oak doors and blindly blamed the manufacturer for weak magnetism. The buyer even uploaded a video of the magnet falling off the wood as absolute proof of the scam. Magnetism is not magic. It is just basic metal science that this person totally ignored. 19. Let us talk about the pure logic of the vacationer who bought maximum strength SPF 50 sunscreen and furiously complained that they came back from their tropical trip without a deep, golden tan. They absolutely destroyed the skincare brand in their review, stating the lotion completely failed to bronze their skin. They literally punished a sun-blocking product for successfully blocking the sun. 20. Experiencing pure shock. A reviewer blasted a lavender bath bomb for completely disappearing after they dropped it into a tub full of hot water. They were furious that the beautiful purple sphere dissolved into fizz and colored water, claiming they paid $10 for a solid rock that melted away in seconds. They literally wanted to take it out of the bath and display it on a shelf forever. The entire existence of a bath bomb is to aggressively self-destruct in your tub for temporary enjoyment. 21. Someone furiously demanded a refund for a flat-screen television that arrived the size of a postage stamp. They completely ignored the phrase "dollhouse miniature living room accessories" in the title. Instead of admitting they failed to read the very first word of the listing, they accused the seller of shrinking a real TV with some sort of illegal laser. The photo of them holding a 2-inch plastic square next to their actual wall mount is purely legendary. 22. You have to love the sheer entitlement of a guy who left a blistering 1-star review on a perfectly good blender because the delivery driver sneezed near his driveway. He admitted the appliance blended his morning smoothies flawlessly and looked amazing. Yet he severely punished the kitchenware brand because he felt the courier lacked basic seasonal allergy medication. Imagine tanking a product rating over some random pollen in the air. Have you ever blamed a kitchen appliance for a sneeze? 23. Buying a digital alarm clock seems incredibly straightforward until you read the complaint from a woman who was absolutely furious that the numbers glowed in the dark. She gave the item a single star because the bright red digits kept her awake at night. The product description literally highlighted the glowing display as the absolute main selling point. What exactly was her master plan for checking the time at 3 in the morning in a pitch-black bedroom? Maybe she expected telepathy. 24. Absolute comedy gold happened when a homeowner bought a wireless ergonomic computer mouse and placed it inside their garage to catch a rodent problem. After 3 weeks, they wrote a wildly aggressive paragraph tearing into the tech company because the plastic device never trapped a single real mouse. They genuinely believed a Bluetooth computer accessory was some kind of futuristic digital pest control. Do people just buy things based entirely on a single word without looking at the photos? 25. Buying a raw amethyst crystal for spiritual healing took a wild turn when a customer demanded a refund because they got a parking ticket the very next day. The furious buyer claimed the purple stone was incredibly defective and actually radiated negative financial energy. They threatened to report the seller to the Better Business Bureau for selling cursed rocks. Blaming a piece of shiny quartz for your own terrible parallel parking skills is an absolutely top-tier level of denial. 26. Leaving a brutal 1-star review on a plain white cotton t-shirt is fine, unless your complaint is entirely about the plot of the movie The Matrix. A deeply confused shopper typed out 4 paragraphs analyzing why the sci-fi film had plot holes, completely ignoring the clothing item they actually purchased. The shirt was just a standard V-neck with zero movie branding. They simply needed a place to vent their cinematic frustrations and chose a random clothing listing as their personal diary. 27. Total chaos erupted in a review section when a guy complained that his new stainless steel mixing bowl aggressively exploded inside his microwave. The product had massive warning labels specifically stating it was solid metal and not microwave safe. Instead of taking the blame for nearly burning his kitchen down, he called the bowl a dangerous weapon. He seriously argued that modern metal should be smart enough to survive high-frequency radiation. You really cannot fix that level of pure ignorance. 28. Someone left a horrifying rating on a gourmet box of imported chocolates, but not because of the candy. They specifically complained that the cardboard shipping box tasted incredibly dry and lacked flavor. Yes, this absolute genius bit into the actual corrugated cardboard packaging, chewed it up, and decided the gourmet company failed at culinary excellence. They somehow bypassed the shiny foil-wrapped chocolates entirely and went straight for the shipping materials like a hungry goat. 29. A furious woman dragged a lavender-scented candle through the mud because lighting it somehow caused her terrible ex-boyfriend to text her. She left a single star, warning other buyers that the wax contained dark magic that summoned unwanted toxic relationships. She explicitly stated the flame smelled great, but the emotional damage was simply not worth the $12. Imagine legally holding a home decor company responsible for your terrible taste in romantic partners. 30. Diet culture brings out the wildest logic, like the buyer who gave fat-burning supplements 0 stars because they gained weight while eating pizza every single day. The angry customer stated they took the pill with a daily double cheeseburger and felt completely scammed when they did not get shredded abs in a week. They expected a tiny vitamin to magically cancel out 10,000 calories of pure junk food. Do people genuinely believe a cheap capsule overrides the entire science of human metabolism? 31. People will literally buy an inflatable kiddie pool and leave a scorching 1-star review because the box did not include actual liquid water. A furious dad angrily accused the seller of false advertising, claiming the promotional photos clearly showed water inside the plastic ring. He legitimately expected the delivery driver to somehow drop off a flat cardboard box containing 50 gallons of loose tap water. Have you ever encountered someone with this level of breathtaking entitlement? 32. Total financial confusion struck a guy who purchased a high-speed wireless router and was completely shocked that he still had to pay a monthly cable bill. He absolutely destroyed the tech brand in his vicious review, arguing that a $60 plastic box should magically generate unlimited free broadband directly from thin air. He essentially thought he bought a lifetime subscription to the entire global internet for the price of a cheap dinner. Technology is not actual witchcraft. 33. One deeply annoyed pet owner bought a premium silent dog whistle and fiercely demanded his money back because he could not hear a single sound when he blew into it. The bright packaging heavily promoted the ultrasonic frequency being completely undetectable to human ears. Instead of trusting basic biology, he incorrectly assumed the tiny metal tube was just completely broken. It is frankly amazing that someone bought a product explicitly labeled as silent and got mad at the total silence. 34. Dropping a terrible rating on a beautifully detailed global map poster is absurd enough, but doing it just because your tiny street was not featured is a totally new level of ego. A highly offended buyer zoomed in on the continent of North America and threw a massive fit because his suburban neighborhood of 12 houses was completely missing. He branded the cartographer a total fraud for the geographic omission. Did he genuinely expect a giant paper poster to function exactly like a GPS satellite? 35. Leaving a negative review on a life-sized wall sticker of a tropical beach because it did not make the room warmer is a totally new level of delusion. A buyer claimed the vivid colors were nice, but it failed to provide the radiant heat promised by the image of the blazing sun. They genuinely expected a flat piece of printed vinyl to act as a space heater. Have you ever bought something so incredibly stupid that you tried to blame the manufacturer for your own lack of basic physics? 36. Musical dreams were absolutely shattered when an amateur rock star bought a classic wooden acoustic guitar and completely melted down because it lacked a basic power cord. They wrote a highly aggressive warning to other musicians, loudly claiming the manufacturer forgot to install a battery pack or a plug for the wall outlet. They spent $200 on an instrument without understanding the literal definition of acoustic. How does someone totally miss the entire concept of unplugged music? 37. A spectacular level of paranoia was unleashed on a window-mounted glass bird feeder when a woman complained that the wild birds kept looking inside her house. She rated the transparent plastic box terribly, angrily stating it completely violated her personal privacy because pigeons were staring at her while she ate her morning breakfast. She bought a see-through item to watch nature, but felt deeply violated when nature accidentally looked back. Would you ever actually accuse a local cardinal of spying? 38. Skincare expectations reached a highly delusional peak when a buyer aggressively attacked an anti-aging face cream for not literally turning back the hands of time. The angry woman complained that after a full week of applying the lotion, her driving license still showed her actual birth year. She genuinely thought a $20 moisturizer had the legal authority to instantly alter her chronological age on government documents. It is just a simple cosmetic cream, not a specialized time machine. 39. Nothing quite matches the extreme delusion of a completely bald man purchasing a box of vibrant blue hair dye and getting incredibly mad that he remained entirely bald. He left a highly emotional complaint explaining that he rubbed the chemical paste onto his shiny scalp, waited a full hour, and was severely shocked when zero blue hair sprouted from his skin. He treated a basic salon coloring kit exactly like a miracle hair growth potion. Dye needs actual hair to work. It does not magically create a wig. 40. Let us fully appreciate the pure comedic tragedy of a shopper who bought a heavy case of premium bottled water and gave it 0 stars for being incredibly bland. They were utterly outraged that the diet water lacked any complex flavor profile or sugary aftertaste. The furious reviewer claimed they were entirely scammed out of their hard-earned money because it just tasted like cold liquid. Imagine writing an angry internet paragraph because pure hydration did not taste like a blue raspberry energy drink. 41. The modern concept of wireless charging completely baffled a highly confused customer who left a genuinely brutal review on a desk charging pad merely because it still required a standard wall plug. They were absolutely convinced this flat plastic disc would magically pull live electricity directly out of the thin air like a wizard. Calling the tech company a massive international fraud, they angrily demanded to know why a basic power cable was included in the retail box. Did this absolute genius honestly think the plastic pad was secretly powered by invisible household magic? 42. Leaving a highly aggressive rating on a cheap fake decoy security camera purely because it failed to capture a midnight driveway thief is absolute top-tier internet comedy. The entire product listing explicitly stated the plastic dome was just an empty shell equipped with a blinking red LED light to scare people away. Yet, this outraged homeowner furiously demanded the manufacturer instantly hand over the non-existent video footage for the local police department. You really have to admire the pure, unbothered confidence of entirely blaming a hollow plastic toy for your missing outdoor bicycle. 43. An aspiring intellectual reader purchased a premium leather-bound journal and completely lost their mind when every single thick paper page turned out to be totally blank. They wrote a highly passionate essay completely destroying the publisher for carelessly forgetting to print the actual fiction novel inside the expensive vintage cover. The product was literally marketed as a blank daily diary meant entirely for personal writing. It truly takes a stunning level of total ignorance to open a sketchbook and get aggressively angry at the severe lack of mechanically printed words. 44. Basic culinary logic went completely out the kitchen window when a highly frustrated amateur chef gave a digital meat thermometer 0 stars entirely because her holiday turkey still came out completely raw. She literally stabbed the freezing cold bird with the sharp metal probe, shoved it directly into the oven, and wrongly assumed the tiny battery-powered stick would magically act as an internal secondary heating element. The poor measuring appliance was heavily penalized for just passively observing the exact temperature. Have you ever accidentally ruined a major family dinner this incredibly badly? 45. You will absolutely lose valuable brain cells listening to the wild complaint from a buyer who ordered a roll of classic invisible tape and got violently angry that they could still visually see it. They felt deeply betrayed because the frosted plastic strip did not literally vanish into thin air the exact second they stuck it to a piece of wrapping paper. The furious shopper actually expected government-level optical camouflage for barely $3. It is just basic office stationery, not a futuristic sci-fi invisibility cloak. 46. Traditional hiking navigation proved way too complex for an urban nature lover who purchased a vintage brass pocket compass and severely punished the outdoor brand because it lacked a glowing digital screen. They confidently claimed the supposedly broken device only ever pointed north, and completely failed to visually show the absolute quickest walking route to the nearest iced coffee shop. Imagine genuinely expecting a basic magnetic needle to suddenly sync up with modern orbital satellite technology. The Earth's magnetic field simply does not care about your daily caffeine addiction. 47. A cheap hotel-style privacy door hanger caused absolute emotional devastation for a highly stressed remote worker who loudly complained that people were still knocking on their home office door. They viciously attacked the printed cardboard for completely failing to physically block their loud family members from freely entering the room. This person literally expected a $5 piece of flat paper to project a solid structural force field completely across the wooden hallway. Simple painted words on a door sign cannot magically paralyze your annoying roommates. 48. Total aquatic betrayal was formally reported by a guy who bought heavy-duty waterproof boots and threw a massive online tantrum because his thick socks got completely soaked. He marched directly into a massive knee-deep swamp and was absolutely shocked when the filthy, muddy water freely poured right over the top ankle openings. He aggressively blamed the expensive rubber footwear for completely failing to repel basic planetary gravity. How does a fully functioning adult human fail to understand that a giant open hole at the top of a shoe will let any liquid inside? 49. Video production dreams were violently crushed when an amateur streamer bought a professional green screen backdrop and was deeply furious that it did not automatically project cool visual backgrounds. They hung up the giant green bedsheet and stared directly at the camera, waiting for a glowing cyberpunk city to magically appear behind them without using any actual video editing software. They angrily returned the fabric, aggressively calling it a highly defective green blanket. Hollywood movie magic definitely still requires some basic computing technology. 50. Backyard pest control took a truly hilarious turn when a highly disturbed customer gave a premium electronic bug zapper a single star merely because it brutally ended the tiny lives of local mosquitoes. They actually complained that the glowing electric grid was way too aggressively violent and demanded a full cash refund because the machine did not just peacefully relocate the flying insects to another neighbor's yard. They willingly bought a literal high-voltage execution chamber for backyard flies, and somehow got incredibly sad about the absolute complete lack of mechanical mercy. 51. Total technological meltdown occurred when a suspicious guy bought a massive 2TB external hard drive and left a scorching 1-star review because it did not get physically heavier. He aggressively claimed the tech company entirely scammed him since the metal brick weighed exactly the same on his kitchen scale after transferring hundreds of massive video files. He genuinely believed downloaded internet data possessed literal physical mass that would anchor down his desk. Do you honestly think digital movies weigh actual pounds? 52. Nothing screams peak absurdity quite like the homeowner who left a blistering review on an emergency fire extinguisher simply because it ruined their living room rug. They were totally outraged that the bright red canister violently sprayed thick chemical foam all over their expensive furniture while actively saving their house from burning down to the ground. They demanded full financial compensation for the mess, completely ignoring the basic fact that the device actively prevented their home from becoming a pile of smoking ashes. 53. Culinary logic vanished when a furious shopper bought a standard stainless steel cheese grater and severely penalized the brand because it totally destroyed her cheddar. She literally complained that every time she rubbed her block of dairy against the sharp metal holes, it ripped the food into tiny shreds. She completely misunderstood the literal definition of a grater and wildly accused the cooking tool of acting like a dangerous weapon against her snacks. Imagine throwing a massive online tantrum because a shredder successfully shredded. 54. The utter confusion of a man who bought a 2-slice toaster and gave it a terrible rating because it burned his bread when he left it on the highest setting for 10 minutes is hilarious. He argued that the machine should possess smart technology to know exactly how he likes his sourdough. The toaster cost exactly $14. Would you ever expect a wildly cheap kitchen appliance to magically read your mind and save your breakfast from your own terrible decisions? Let me know below. 55. The grand finale of human confusion belongs to the angry buyer who purchased specialized solar eclipse glasses and rated them 0 stars because they could not comfortably watch television in them. They were deeply offended that the heavy blackout lenses, designed to block the burning radiation of our sun, made their indoor living room completely pitch black. They heavily criticized the optical brand for horrible visibility while trying to binge their favorite shows on a random Tuesday night. You truly cannot protect some people from their own brains. We just witnessed the absolute lowest points of consumer logic in internet history. Which of these 55 unhinged complaints actually made you question the survival of the human race? Drop your favorite in the comments right now so we can argue about who the craziest buyer really is. If you loved this pure digital chaos, smash that like button and subscribe to the channel for more insanity. Catch you next time.